Hello everyone, how are you doing? I hope you're having a wonderful day. This week is Mental Health Awareness Week. So what better time to put out videos about mental health? I actually have 2 videos for you guys this week, but since my last video was a very sit down, very factual video, I thought that I would mix it up a bit for this and make it a bit more fun and involve you guys. So I went over onto Twitter and Instagram and I asked you guys what you would like to know about bipolar disorder, psychosis and anxiety. And I actually had one person answer on Twitter and a few people over on Instagram. So I'm just going to go ahead and try and answer them as honestly as I can. I'm going to start with the Instagram questions, and the first one is, how do you know when something is a hallucination? Really good question. Honest answer, you don't. Now, because I'm on medication and I have that clarity, if I do hallucinate, then I'm able to rationalise and make it clear to myself that that's not real. But before I was on medication and when I was in the midst of the psychosis, I could not tell the difference. I genuinely couldn't. People and demons and creatures and stuff would appear in my living room, and that was normality for me. My mind wasn't in a place where I could be like, that's not real, let's move on. Whereas now, because of the medication, because of the years of therapy, I am able to tell the difference, and obviously I can look back at that time and think to myself, well, somebody randomly appearing in your kitchen, definitely a hallucination, definitely not real. What do you think about characters in movies with bipolar and psychosis? Another good question, actually. I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with characters that have the same mental health disorders that I do. Some of them can be great and are obviously really well researched, and then others are just kind of your typical stereotype, and those ones really bother me. I'm trying to think of bipolar characters and characters with psychosis that I've seen in movies. I can think of 2 I've seen in TV shows, so hopefully the person that asked this won't mind if I answer based on TV shows. There's Effie in Skins, who had psychotic depression, which is what I was diagnosed with before my diagnosis changed to bipolar with psychotic features. And then there is Ian in the American version of Shameless, who has bipolar disorder. With Effie's character, I love Effie, by the way, but with her character, one of the things that did bother me was that we never saw anything from her perspective. It was all how she was acting and how the people around her thought of that. I'm sorry if you can hear background noise. Bella's playing in the living room with my husband and she's not in a good mood. She's refused to nap. Anybody else's baby do that? Do you have a baby? Does it refuse to nap? Let me know. Yeah, but Effie was just so very... She was made to come across to be very manipulative. I've seen a lot of people that watched Skins say that they thought that she was a very dramatic character, very angry, very annoying in a lot of ways. And I think that the reason that they came to that conclusion was because we never saw anything from her side of things. We never saw what she was actually going through, what she was seeing in her mind, what she was believing. It was all just very much how everybody else around her had to deal with it. And yeah, I think that they definitely could have done that a lot better. Whereas with Ian in Shameless, I think that they portrayed that really well. They had the like insane manic highs and then the extremely low depressive moods, and they portrayed them so well. And then they had the paranoia in there as well that can come with it, where he was convinced that people were after him and he took off because he thought that people were coming to get him. And honestly, I just really loved that portrayal. I just personally felt like it was very accurate and it had been very well researched. Obviously there's going to be other people with bipolar and psychosis that hate it. It's just personal opinion really, and yeah, to round up an answer, I guess it very much depends on the character. How did you get diagnosed with bipolar and psychosis? Okay, so honestly, I'm not going to lie, it was a very long process. I'll probably get muddled on the age I was when certain things happened. I can't entirely remember that, but roughly when I was around 19, I think, I had a breakdown, went to the doctors, was diagnosed with depression, and I was put on antidepressants. And then I started seeing a psychiatrist as well. And then, maybe 4 years later, 3-4 years later, something like that, I had another big breakdown, and it came out that I'd been seeing things and hearing things, etc. And so they diagnosed me with psychotic depression, and I was put on antipsychotics, and I continued seeing my psychiatrist, and then I wound up seeing a new psychiatrist because my old psychiatrist retired and this new woman came in, and I saw her for several years, maybe 3-4 years, something like that, and then my diagnosis got changed to bipolar disorder. My medication didn't change. It went from me being on the antidepressants to me being on the antidepressants and antipsychotics. The only thing that changed was the dose of my medication. But yeah, I'm going to be 30 in 3 months, and this all kind of kicked off when I was around about 19, so very long process, lots of seeing the doctors, lots of seeing psychiatrists, lots of breakdowns, lots of hospital visits. It was just a crazy ride. Oh, okay, I've actually had a similar question to this on Twitter before that I answered over there. I'll answer this one here anyway. And it is, did your psychosis get worse after having your baby? I can understand why people would ask that, because obviously there is such a thing as postpartum depression and postpartum psychosis. Strangely, I was in a higher risk for that happening because I do have bipolar and psychosis, but it didn't happen with me. For some reason, I just skipped that. I think a lot of it was due to the fact that I was given the help that I needed right from the start. So my doctor and my midwife were amazing, and then they got me in touch with a psychiatrist that specialised in pregnant women and mothers with mental health problems or disabilities, and she was incredible. There was 2 of them actually. They were both really, really good. There was like the head one and then the one that I saw on a more regular basis, and I'm still seeing the head psychiatrist now. Well, not right now because of lockdown, but I do normally see her like every couple of months just to keep up with things. And having that support, and then having my doctor, my midwife on top of that know what my situation was. What about social anxiety and how anxiety can lead to meltdowns or breakdowns, and any thoughts on how to prevent this? Also, maybe links between autism and anxiety. I already replied to this person on Twitter just to say that I would definitely answer the first part, but the second part, the links between autism and anxiety, I don't feel is my place to answer. I don't have autism. I do know people with autism. I do follow a lot of amazing accounts by people that have autism on social media, but I think something like that should always come from someone that is experiencing it personally and can give the most accurate overview of it. So I'm not going to comment on that part, but in terms of the social anxiety and how to stop anxiety leading to breakdowns, that's a really good question. Obviously there's no set handbook that comes with having anxiety. I wish that there was. One thing that's worked for me over the years is having distractions. And this was something that I actually worked through with a psychiatrist a few years ago. When I leave the house, I always make sure that I've got something that can be used as a distraction. I can't talk today. My Kindle, my phone to watch Netflix, headphones, a magazine. Obviously these days as well, when things were normal anyway and we weren't all in lockdown, I would normally be going out with Bella. I really cannot speak today. I would normally be going out with my daughter Bella, and babies, as I'm sure you know, are an amazing distraction because you're focused on them pretty much the entire time. But there have been times even then when she's been asleep, and obviously you don't want to wake your child just so that you don't feel anxious. So yeah, definitely having like a book or my Kindle or like earphones and my phone with Netflix and stuff like that, that really helps. Okay, so I think that is all the questions. Thank you very much for asking them. I hope that I answered them well enough for you. I hope this video isn't too long. I'm just going to wrap it up here, and I will hopefully see you guys in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye!